Good morning, everybody. It's Driven Fitness Erica here, your friendly and fabulous personal trainer and health and wellness expert. How are you today? I'm getting some weird this way light shining there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. All right. How are you? Welcome to my fabulous at-home fitness dojo. This is where I do a lot of my training, Zoom training, when I'm not at the studio. So it's not fancy, but is extremely effective. Does not have to be fancy to be effective, right? How are ya? If you are tuning in, then give me a quick shout out. Hello. Let me know who you are, where you're calling from, watching from. Welcome to my weekly live session. So I'm here almost every Wednesday around 7:30 in the morning live and on replays. So we're talking all things health and fitness. And today we're talking about running shoes. But while I wait to see if anybody comes in and joins us live, I have to tell you, yesterday I had the coolest Zoom call with a woman named Florence. She's a certified medicinal herbalist. So she uses natural herbs to help solve all kinds of health issues that you might be feeling, pains, aches, illnesses, and she's really heavily into CBD as well as herbs. And I learned so much about CBD and what's out there on the market. So I think I'm going to talk about what I learned next week. So if you want to learn about CBD and the do's and the don'ts of all the various brands out there, I mean, you can practically get it at the grocery store now, then tune in next week. All right, running shoes. So my collection, small collection of just some of my running shoes on my 1993 Ford cheerleading ladder, JV Cheer, Cajon High School, woo woo, go Cowboys, in San Bernardino, California. Good morning, whoever's joining us. Everyone makes fun of this ladder when they see it in pictures and stuff. I also have a cheer box back there, but let me tell you, they're two of the best pieces of equipment I have had. And that thing is like barely, it's still hanging on by a thread from 1994. So, hey, don't knock it, right? It's a good story. I was a cheerleader for 2 years in high school, 2 years. Okay, so running shoes. This is my just a small collection of some of my running shoes. I have more. People feel very strongly about running shoes. So when you ask them about shoes, sometimes you don't even ask them, they'll give you your opinion. Everyone feels very strongly that their running shoes are the best, the type of running shoes they have are the best. Don't listen to them, okay? Your body, your feet, your dynamic movement is not the same as anybody else's. So just take whatever anyone says about the best running shoes ever with a grain of salt, okay? Because what works for someone next to you might not work for you. So we're gonna talk about all the options today. Little known fact, I worked at a running store when I first became a trainer because I had to make ends meet. So I did learn a little bit about running shoes. And gait analysis. So different kinds of running shoes. So first of all, right off the bat, people ask me, do they need to have some kind of special shoe for something besides running? So like, for example, like a cross training class, a fitness class, weightlifting class, can they just wear regular running shoes? In my opinion, for the most part, yes. Running shoes are meant for forward motions, so they don't have quite as much lateral support as maybe some other shoes. In all the years I've been training, I've never had anyone have an issue in any of my fitness classes wearing running shoes with cross lateral movements like side shuffles or anything like that. They say you got to be careful because the support for a running shoe is not really made for lateral movements. Personally, I've never seen an issue with that. If you have ankles that are less stable, maybe they've been injured before, something like that, maybe you want a more like a cross training shoe or a shoe that provides more lateral support. If you have healthy ankles, really whatever works for you. Running shoes just don't provide as much movement for like a lateral motion as like a cross training shoe. Then when you get into like Olympic weightlifting and things like that, there's all kinds of other shoes you can wear. But for a general fitness class, honestly, I wear running shoes. I've never had an issue. Okay, so let's talk about the types of running shoes. So this is my running shoe. I only use it on the street, right? Not a lot of tread, regular running shoe. This is a trail shoe. I only use it on the trails, much more tread. I like this specifically for dirt. This is a Saucony. I like this big tread. It gives me a lot of bang for my buck, but I wouldn't probably want to wear a grippy shoe like this on pavement, or especially during cross-training classes. I would say off-road shoes, not the best for general fitness classes. They stick to stuff, okay? That's their purpose. So when you go to the store, if you're going to like a more of a discount, store like a Marshall's or something like that, pay attention to the tread. You don't want a trail shoe for hard surface stuff or indoor, okay? Second, a shoe that looks kind of like what you would think of as a normal running shoe like this. This is a mid-stability shoe, so it gives me a little bit more stability on the inside of my arch than a flat shoe like this, which gives less stability on the inside of your arch. Why does that matter? It depends on how your arch and your foot act when you walk or run. And the best way to figure out what kind of shoe you need, one with a lot of stability or one with not a lot of stability, is to go to a running store and have them watch your gait and check it out. And they can tell you, oh, you collapse a lot in through your ankles and then through your knees. So we want something that has more stability on the inside of your arch and will therefore help you straighten everything back out. You aren't going to get that from like a Kohl's or something like that. So just spend the money the first time around, get a gait analysis done, and get the right shoe for your foot and your gait. And you can try on a whole host of shoes and find out what works for you. The thing about trying on running shoes is there is no break-in time. You do not need to break in running shoes. Your feet should tell you right away the first time you put them on whether they work for you. If it doesn't feel good when you put them on and walk around the store, they are not going to break in to feel better, probably. Okay, so when you put them on the first time and walk or run around the store, then it should feel good right away. If it doesn't, it's not the shoe for you. Okay, so next. The more traditional running shoe has this little tiny lift. You wouldn't notice it. Very, very small lift in the back of the heel. So your heel is actually a little bit higher than your toe. Again, it's not like a high heel. It's not something that you've noticed, but they started doing that years ago. What's popular now is something called a zero drop shoe. This is an ultra. This is a zero drop shoe. That means that this part does not have that little lift. So there is no drop between the toe and the heel, therefore being called a zero drop shoe. Now, the people who love these now will tell you this puts your foot in a more natural mechanical position, like if you're in bare feet, right? So it takes away that little lift and is therefore better for all the muscles in the feet. It's better for the calves. It stretches them out in a more natural position. All of that is true. However, they will also tell you that this is the best, that you need to be wearing this all the time, that it prevents injury, can reduce injury, get rid of injury, all that kind of stuff. Is that true? It depends on you, okay? So, zero drop shoes are great for trying that out. Go to a store and check it out. And maybe they're gonna feel awful, maybe they'll feel great. If you have an injury, plantar fasciitis, issue with shin splints, maybe a zero drop shoe will help you. Maybe it will make it worse. You have to try it out. I wear these for work. Okay, so these are my work shoes. I don't wear these to work out or especially run in. They just don't feel good for me. But the thing with a zero drop shoe, if you go to them, is that because they're flat and it stretches out your calf muscle, you're not used to being that way for the most part. Unless you're walking around barefoot a lot, most of us have some kind of heel all the time. So our calf is always crunched in, right, and contracted. So if all of a sudden you go from a regular shoe to a zero drop shoe, you might have some major calf issues. I went to these zero drop shoes, decided to go running in them, went running like my normal 3 miles, and was crippled for like 7 days. My calves, shins were horrible. And it was because I went from one of these with a higher lift in the back to this and didn't do any kind of break-in period. So if you want to try this zero drop shoe, it's awesome, but just try it a little bit at a time, couple minutes at a time, or like a day on, a day off, until your lower legs can become accustomed to them. Okay? Thumbs up. Okay, next. Zero drop does not mean minimalist. So remember lots of years ago when the big thing was barefoot running and then those Vibram 5 fingers, which I think are so hideous. That was minimalist, right? So very low cushion, trying to get as close to running barefoot as possible, because again, the idea is that it's getting back to your natural form, running where all your feet muscles are working, ankles are working, etc. Whereas these highly cushioned shoes take some of that away. My personal opinion on minimalist shoes, like this one is a minimalist shoe. It's both zero drop and it's minimal. There's hardly any cushioning. There's no arch support on this side, this side. This side it's great to work on exercises and forms of exercise that encourage your feet muscles to work, your ankles to work. However, most of us are spending a lot of time running on concrete and pavement these days. And personally, I just don't know that it's the best idea to do it in a minimalist shoe if it doesn't feel good to you. I would rather you get barefoot training by like actually running barefoot on a lawn, or yoga, or some weight training when bare feet, versus trying to do it while you're running. Not to mention that a lot of us are carrying a couple extra pounds, right? And our joints are getting a little bit more shocked. We're not used to running all the time. We sit all day. So minimalist shoes with not a lot of cushion, trying to run in, people swear by them. So if it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, don't be afraid to do something with more cushion. Okay? So minimalist we talked about, cushion we talked about. Now, you can get zero drop shoes that also have, zero drop shoes that also have cushion. Okay? So Altras make a zero drop that still have support and cushion. So that's another option. So many options. So last, how often should you change your running shoes? Well, the answer is, how often do you wear your running shoes, right? And what kind of running shoes are they? If you're in more of a traditional shoe like this, these usually get 300 to 500 miles before you should change them. If your knees start to hurt, if your feet start to hurt, which is the telltale sign for me, all of a sudden, like my feet are killing me, my knees hurt, everything feels tight, it's a sign that I need to change my shoes. For most people who are just kind of average runners or exercisers, you need to change these every 6 months. No one likes to hear that. No one believes me, but I swear, 6 months for a standard shoe. For a shoe with less support and structure, it's much less. Like something like this might only go 100 to 200 miles before you should really change them. So be mindful, the less support they have, the more often you need to change them. Keep track if you need to. The last are these like fashion shoes. These I also wear for work sometimes. These are a Nike minimalist shoe. I forget what brand what line they are. I don't wear these for workout either. I wear these because they're cute and fun. They're great for walking around, doing errands, or at work. But for me, they don't give enough support for running. Some people love the Nike Freeze, which are a minimalist shoe. So the brand, all the brands have different things that they specialize in. Some have bigger toe boxes. Some are known for higher inner arches. Some have a higher heel. So really, you got to find the brand that just works best for you. I love Saucony's and Altras, Asics as well. Some people love Brooks. So all that information, take it, store it in your head, go to your local specialty running store, get fitted. The other thing I will say, if you go to your specialty running store and you are not a distance runner, like you're not going to do a half marathon and a marathon, do not let them talk you into buying a size bigger in your shoe. You do not need that unless you are running long distances, like over 10 miles. But they're a running store, that's how they think in their head. So I've had many, many clients who go just for a proper shoe, just for fitness classes, and they come back and they're like, God, Erica, these are so big. They wanted me to get a size bigger, even a half size bigger. You don't need that unless you are running long distances. And the reason that you do that is because your feet swell while you're running and you need the space. If you're just using it for hiking, walking, fitness classes, you don't need to go up a size, okay? Just a little pro tip. That's it. That's my big running shoes story. We went long today, 15 minutes. So if you are just joining me and you missed it, then I will post and you can replay later. We talked about the different kinds of shoes, what kind is best for you, and how often you should be changing them. So hit me a little comment if you like it, and then please share this on your walls so everyone else can learn and tune in with me next week. All right, have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.